Hey! So it's been a while. I'm not gonna lie, it probably wasn't my best idea to upload a video before the holidays, but I'm here, I'm back. Today I'm bringing you 5 fantasy books I'd recommend you read. These fantasy books are like old school. 3 of them were released in the 1990s. 2 of them are newer but still just as good. Oh, so I haven't read all of these books. I've read 3, I think, and I hope to reread some of them, and I'm gonna read 2 of the series. I will be on Goodreads saying when I'm gonna read those. In fact, if you go to my Goodreads, which is down there, you'll see that I'm pretty sure all of these books are on my to be read, and I will be posting them on Instagram when I start reading them, so you can read along with me if you'd like. But it's totally up to you, so let's get started. The first series is Terry Goodkind's Sword of Truth series. So there are 12 books in this series. So it was written in 1997 to 2007, and then from that series he then wrote another series afterwards called the Richard and Carlin series, and then he has prequels. This is one of my favourite books just because it's written so well. It has humour in it, it has sad moments that made me cry, probably you cry as well. It has creatures that I've never heard of. So there's confessors, dragons, gars. Honestly, it's worth a read. The hardest part for me is that there's a tiny little slump in the middle. So on Goodreads, all the books have between a 3.5 and a 4.1. I'll give it a 4.5, and a couple of the books maybe a 3.7 because they were a bit slow, but definitely worth reading. Second of all, we have the Wheel of Time series. So this is a book of 14. It was written by Robert Jordan, and then later on when Robert Jordan died, Brandon Sanderson took over. You might have heard of him. He's a great fantasy author who will be mentioned soon. So Robert Jordan died, but had already planned out the entire series. Brandon Sanderson took over. He flawlessly aced Robert Jordan's flow and rhythm and style of writing. Like, I personally could not tell the difference between the way the two of them write. And the book started in 1990 to 2013. Goodreads gives this book actually a higher rating than the Sword of Truth series I was talking about. The Goodreads rating comes in at 3.9 to 4.5. My rating for this series would be probably a 4.2. Like, it was good. I like the way that he's written it. The magic is interwoven. You follow a bunch of characters. They all have somewhat happy endings or sad endings, but you get to see their life, and it's realistic. People die, which is sad, but people die, and it's a war, so that's what happens. I definitely recommend going and reading it. He did such a great job. So did Brandon Sanderson, actually. They aced it. I don't think I finished reading all of this. My dad was a little bit mean and he held off on me and he wouldn't give me the series. I think I was being naughty at the time, so to be fair. But I didn't think I ever finished the series. I did ruin it for myself and read the last chapter while my dad was around his bookshelf, but that's fine. So I hopefully will, if I have time this year, I'm going to reread this, but it's at the bottom of my list. Third of all is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series. I can obviously tell that he's a great writer from Robert Jordan's series. My dad has read these though. In case you can't tell, my dad has a lot to do with my reading. And so I'm going to read them this year. Let me tell you. So it says that it's a trilogy, but Goodreads has it down as like 5 or 6 books, so I was a little bit confused. He got such good ratings on Goodreads as well. The series got anywhere from a 4.2 to a 4.5 for each book. Hopefully I'll get to read this series this year. My 4th series is Patrick Rothfuss's The Kingkiller Chronicles. So I have read 2 of these books. I don't remember too much of them. I remember the parts that I was like, what? But not very much else. So I am going to reread these books. So far there is 2 out. The 3rd is to be released this year. Patrick Rothfuss has written a standalone book on one of the sub-characters in this book. So the main idea behind this series is that throughout the book you follow how he became to be known as the Kingkiller, which, that's quite the claim, isn't it? You want to read that? I bet you do. So I've read the first 2 books, they're great. He has such unique ideas, the character is an interesting one. Go ahead and read it. He got a 4.6 on Goodreads for both books, which is quite the claim. The 5th fantasy series I'd recommend is the Belgariad and Malloreon. Fun fact, my little sister is named after the princess in this book, Sinedra. Yes, my dad thought of that. My sister got the series for Christmas, so I'm going to be reading this just so I can say I've read her namesake and so we can talk about it. So this series was started in 1982, which is quite a while ago. Like, I wasn't even an apple in my parents' eye back then. So it starts with the Belgariad series, and that was written in 1982 to 1984, so he wrote these books quite fast actually. It's written by David Eddings. Him and his wife Lee Eddings have co-written a lot of books together. She wasn't acknowledged in a lot of them, but later on she began to be acknowledged. So it starts with the Belgariad, that's 5 books I think, and then it continues on to the Malloreon, which is another 5 books. All these books got 4 stars on Goodreads. So that puts my 5 series, my 5 books, my 5 series, 5 fantasy series I'd recommend reading in 2016. Obviously there are a lot of fantasy books to be read in 2016. These are just older books that I know of or have already read and I'm looking forward to reading in 2016. I'll put down the first book of each series I'm recommending into the bar down below. These will be from Book Depository, which you should definitely go check out. This is not sponsored, I just love this. I love this website because it has free shipping. Oh, and the books are cheaper than going down to the bookstore down the road, so yes please. And that way you can read along with me when I get to it. So let me know if you have any recommendations, if you've already read any of these series. I'd love to hear what you thought. I'll see you soon, hopefully. My aim is to upload every Wednesday and maybe Fridays. That is all guys. I will see you on Friday, hopefully.